Where the Truth Lies.
New film by Atom Egoyan, who's the Canadian director originally of Armenian descent, who made The Sweet Hereafter and Exotica, of whose films I am a very big fan. This is an upmarket sort of noirish erotic thriller about a pair of nightclub entertainers who were very, very big in the 1950s and then split up after a scandal involving a girl, a bath, some ice, some lobsters, and, death.
What?
And yeah, exactly. Okay.
Now,
girl, bath, ice, lobsters, death, and I'm not going to go any further than that. Okay, so like a scandal was,
I'm prepared to take your word on that.
Thank you. Now, Alison Lohman is a journalist who goes to interview them in the 1970s to find out what happened back in the 1950s when they were at their top of their game, being a pair of nightclub entertainers, very much like Dean and Jerry. So, Colin Firth and Kevin Bacon, both of whom I think are absolutely on top of their game. Colin Firth was on the programme last week and was talking about the film, and particularly about the fuss that it had with the American censors. The American censorship system is just completely rubbish. They basically have no way of dealing with adult movies. So what they say is that all films should be open to absolutely everybody. You go with your parents if you're under 17, except for a little small group of movies that they say are adult, but actually that kind of means filthy and disgusting and grim. They had this thing, the NC-17 certificate, which was brought in back in the 90s, and Showgirls was the thing that kind of launched the NC-17, and it failed really badly. So now the basic thing in America is, rather than having what we have, a 15 certificate movie, 18 certificate movie, is very respectable. Respectable movies in America are R-rated, which means anyone can see them as long as they go with a parent or adult. And then NC-17 is either art house or niche or smut. And in the case of Where the Truth Lies, they gave it an NC-17 rating. Atom Egoyan tried to cut it, but in the end gave up. And they said, we're going to just put it out unrated. And it's a shame because he's tried to make a very mainstream movie, and as a result of all this stuff that happened in America, they ended up without a certificate, so that isn't very mainstream at all. Over here, it deserves to do better.
What happens if it hasn't got a certificate?
You can put it out unrated, but some cinema chains won't play it, right, and some newspapers won't take adverts for it.
So who can go and see it if it's got no rating?
Well, what happens is the cinemas tend to judge for themselves who is able to see it. I mean, it's a really peculiar thing, but if an NC...
the bloke in the kiosk selling...
No, the cinemas kind of have membership policies, and I mean, it's really odd. Okay. It's really, really odd. I mean, the point is, the movie is an adult movie. It says on the BBFC thing, contains strong sex, drugs, language, all those things. It's clearly made for adults. But in England, we say, fine, it's an adult movie, great, have no problem with that, well done, you made an adult film. In America,
this is an 18, isn't it?
Yeah. In America, they run around like headless chickens if you make an adult movie. It's, oh no, it's a film that's only suitable for adults, that must be absolutely horrible. Basic Instinct, meantime, is an R-rated movie. Like, go figure. You can take a kid to see Basic Instinct. I mean, how completely squiff is that? Anyway, so Atom Egoyan has set out to make a very mainstream movie based on a novel by Rupert Holmes, who, strangely enough, trivia fans, is the guy who wrote the Pina Colada song.
I was going to say, Escape.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't know this, and it's just something that came up in trivia on the IMDb.
If you like Pina Colada...
And to getting caught in the rain, if you like Making Love at Midnight or something... If you're not into health...
Don't sing it.
No, that, whatever. Anyway, him. Well, he also wrote this novel, Where the Truth Lies, upon which this is based. And there are two very fine performances in the middle of it from Kevin Bacon and Colin Firth as these nightclub entertainers who fall out due to a scandal, who are now then seen later on in the 70s with terrible sideburns, trying to, refashion their lives, each with their own version of it. The thing about the movie is, it's got very bad notices over here. I mean, the reviews have not been good at all. I think one of the problems is a simple genre problem. It is basically a Greg Dark movie with A-levels. It is an erotic thriller with a degree. If you like, and incidentally, I have no problem with you liking this, if you like Night Rhythms, Animal Instincts, if you like all those sleazy, straight-to-video movies, which is a bit of plot, a bit of sex, and, but they're 90 minutes long, they're nuts and bolts thrillers, they know what they are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some of them are really interesting movies. Greg Dark is a really interesting filmmaker. Jag Munda is a really interesting filmmaker. Atom Egoyan happens to have wandered into this genre and made an upmarket erotic thriller, which is clever, it's stylish, it's smart, it's funny, but it is basically a B movie. And people have a problem, which is either they don't want it to be a B movie, or they judge it as an A movie and they say, well, it's tacky and cheap. And it is all those things. It is tacky, it is a bit sleazy, it is a bit cheesy. It's fine. It's a thriller. It's an erotic thriller. It's a piece of grown-up entertainment that's playful, and it's not meant to be taken entirely seriously. And there is a dark undercurrent in it, and in fact, when the secret is revealed, it's quite a smart secret. And it's interesting that the MPAA rejected it, I think, not on the grounds that they said they did, which was, it's too explicit, but in fact, because some of the subjects it deals with are not subjects that they like to talk about in polite society in America. It's not a great movie.
Like Lobsters in the Bath.
Like Lobsters in the Bath. Yeah. It's Atomigoyan light to some extent. It has none of the deep soul of Sweet Hereafter, or I think of Exotica. But when I saw it at Cannes, I thought it's kind of okay, and I've seen it again since then. And since then, I've really liked it more because I think it's nicely made, it's vibrant, it's enthusiastic. Yes, it's a bit silly, but hey, it's a genre movie, and people just have to get their hat on about this. It's like there are things like thrillers, there are erotic thrillers, there are action movies, there are comedies. These movies set out to do a certain thing, and it does it perfectly well.
If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, if you're not into yoga, if you have half a brain, if you like making love at midnight in the dunes on the Cape, then I'm the love that you looked for, right to me.
And Escape. And then it turns out that it's his wife, right?
Yeah, that's right. So
it's the punchline.
Repeat chorus twice and fade. So Rupert Holmes contributed what to this film?
He wrote the book on which it's based.
Right.
He also wrote that musical, the Edwin Drood Mysteries. I mean, apparently he's a multi-talented all-rounder, if we don't take into account the Pina Colada song, which is clearly an abomination.
Mayo at BBC.com.